The sun dipped below the jagged peaks as 5 friends, Mark, Sarah, Jason, Emily, and Tom, ventured into the heart of the Pacific Northwest forest. They were college friends reuniting after years apart, seeking adventure away from their mundane routines. The dense woods swallowed the last of the daylight, casting long shadows across their path. As dusk settled, they found a secluded clearing beside a murmuring creek. The canopy above was a tapestry of interlaced branches, and the air was thick with the scent of pine. They pitched their tents, laughter echoing as they fumbled with gear. A campfire soon crackled to life, its warm glow pushing back the encroaching darkness. The wind picked up, rustling leaves and bringing with it the scent of rain. "Looks like a storm's coming," Jason remarked, glancing at the darkening sky. Thunder rumbled in the distance. They huddled closer to the fire, sharing stories and reminiscing, hoping the weather would pass without incident. Suddenly, Mark's gaze fixed on the tree line. "Did you see that?" he whispered. A silhouette stood just beyond the fire's reach, a tall, motionless figure. The others followed his stare but saw nothing. "Probably just the shadows playing tricks," Sarah suggested, though unease settled over them. Minutes later, Emily gasped as the figure reappeared, watching silently from the darkness. Tom called out, "Hello, do you need help?" But there was no response. He stood and took a few steps forward, but the figure vanished without a sound. An oppressive silence fell, broken only by the crackling fire and distant thunder. Determined to uncover the mystery, they decided to investigate. Flashlights in hand, they ventured toward where the figure had stood. The beam illuminated only dense underbrush and towering trees. No footprints, no broken branches, nothing to indicate anyone had been there at all. Back at the campsite, tension hung heavy. "This doesn't feel right," Emily murmured. The storm intensified, rain pounding on the canopy above. Suddenly, a scream pierced the night. They spun around to see Tom's tent empty, his gear scattered. Panic surged as they shouted his name into the void. Desperate to find their friend, they braved the storm, scouring the forest. The rain blurred their vision, and every shadow seemed alive. Jason spotted a faint light flickering through the trees. "Over there!" he yelled. They stumbled toward it, emerging into a clearing dominated by an abandoned cabin. The cabin stood weathered and silent, its windows like dark eyes. They hesitated before pushing the door open. Inside, the air was stale, and strange symbols adorned the walls. "What is this place?" Sarah whispered. A faint sound, like distant whispers, filled the room, sending chills down their spines. Without warning, the door slammed shut. Their flashlights flickered ominously. "We need to get out of here," Mark urged, his voice taut with fear. They battled the stubborn door until it gave way, spilling them back into the storm. The forest around them had transformed. Paths they had known were now unfamiliar. Disoriented and frightened, they realized they were hopelessly lost. The figure emerged once more among the trees, closer this time. Its presence was overwhelming, suffocating. "Run!" Mark shouted. They scattered, branches clawing at their clothes as they tore through the underbrush. One by one, they found themselves back at the campsite, or where it should have been. The tents, the fire, all traces of their presence were gone. "This can't be happening," Sarah sobbed. The forest pressed in from all sides, the trees now menacing silhouettes against the swirling darkness. As dawn approached, the storm subsided, but the friends were nowhere to be found. The forest returned to its serene facade, the only hint of the night's terror a lingering sense of dread. The mysterious figure had vanished, leaving the woods as quiet and inscrutable as they had been before. In the end, the forest kept its secrets. The friends became yet another whisper in the tales told around campfires, a cautionary story of those who venture too deep and encounter the unknown. The dense wilderness remained indifferent, swallowing all traces as the world moved on, unaware of the souls lost within.